This is Scoreboard with Chris Titley. Powered by Swiftex. Where can crypto take you?
Hi, it's Chris Titley here, and on today's episode of Scoreboard, the podcast, I am joined in person by Matt Renshaw. Matt, thank you so much for being part of this series.
No, thanks for having me.
Matthew or Matt?
Well, mostly it's my mother who calls me Matthew, or my wife if I've said something inappropriate. But yeah, mostly Matt.
Matt, yeah, I'm the same with Chris. Christopher doesn't get in the agenda. Now, we're sitting here on Tuesday, the 21st of July, 2026. If you were to describe 2026, how would you describe it so far? Halfway through, or actually 60% of the way through?
Yeah. I was having this conversation with my wife the other day. Like, it's completely different to what I would have predicted at the start of sort of even the end of last year. Had a good big bash, got to play T20 cricket for Australia, then got called into the World Cup squad, played a couple of Shield games, and then had a tour to Pakistan and Bangladesh. So a lot different to even if you'd have told me 10 years ago that I would have been in those squads if I'd have played a World Cup for Australia, T20, probably wouldn't have expected it. So, yeah, something that I wasn't expecting at the start of the year, and it's been a great year so far, and hopefully we can keep continuing on that.
When you sort of plan a year ahead in your mind, do you, firstly? And secondly, how do you think about a season coming?
Not too much. In terms of, so the start of last season, I wasn't playing white ball cricket for Australia. I was sort of looking at the year ahead going, this is where the Shield games are. Sort of normally when the schedule comes out, I get my big yearly, monthly calendar workout where I'm going to be every so often and then work from there. But didn't have the World Cup on my radar at all. I remember when I got picked, went back to my room. We were in Pakistan, got the call saying, can you come into the coach's room? And got told, and then went straight back, looked at where all the games were because I had no idea. I was mentally getting ready to come back to Melbourne and play a Shield game 3 days later. So, it was a lot different then. Now the fixtures have come out and I've sort of had a look at both where all the Aussie teams are, where all the Shield games are, and trying to you sort of get your head around where you could be at different times. But I think big one for me is not assuming I'm in anything, just making sure that I'm, just prepped for whatever. I think it's more for my family side of things going, okay, well, I could be away for a month here. I could be away for a week or 3 days, just so mainly my wife can plan for those times. We've got 2 young kids. So, the last little bit when I've been away, her parents have come over and stayed. My parents have come over and stayed just to give her a little bit of time to be a human rather than just a mum.
Yeah, it does. It's all consuming, and the mental health side of being a mother and father is needed in terms of either friend time or normal time where you can actually talk to a human being and have a conversation as opposed to being 24-hour support. Having kids has changed your perspective a little bit?
Yeah, definitely. I think I had them, we had them quite young. I think I was 26 or 27 when we had our first. A lot of us sort of had kids in the Queensland group at a similar time. It was just after COVID. And I think it sort of changed a lot of our mindsets around why we play the game. I think it gives you that, you hear it so often, it gives you that perspective shift on why you're trying to do things. And even just last year was a big one for me. I sort of got out early in one game and was getting really frustrated with myself about how I got out, and I just couldn't stop thinking. I was rolling it over in my head, and then all of a sudden I just hear my little girl shout my name, and I sort of look around, and then you go and play with her for 10 minutes, and then you forget completely why you're angry. So like, it's one of those really good perspective shifts and sort of just the way that why you want to play. You sort of look back at when they're playing in the backyard, it's the joy. They're not stressing about what they do or how many they get. It's just they're playing and trying to keep thinking about that as a way that I see my cricket.
As a professional cricketer, though, there are contracts and there's central lists and there's tournaments and things like that. There's lots of opportunities. How do you balance that out in your head as life as a paid cricketer versus loving the game?
I think there's always that side of things you think of, but I think the way I look at it with those contract lists is if I'm playing my best cricket, then I don't see the contract list as I've been contracted a couple of times. I've not been contracted. I've played way more cricket when I'm not contracted. So it's easy to think like, oh, the contract's the most important thing, but we've got a great opportunity in Australia that if you play enough games, you can get upgraded. So it's not the end of the world if you don't get that contract. And I've seen both sides where you get the contract and you don't play a game. So, for me, it's just trying to compartmentalize everything and go, well, does it matter if I get this right now, or do I need that motivation to get me further down the road?
Are you having fun playing cricket?
Love it. Yeah.
Why?
I think like the last few years, it's all like every time I get interviewed, it's when you're going to play Test cricket again. And it's completely like that all the time. I played the white ball series against India. I made an ODI 50. And one of the questions from the journalist was, would you have rather played a Shield game this week and try and stake your claim for the Test team? It's like, man, I'm playing for Australia. I've scored an ODI 50 against India at the SCG. Like, that's bucket list stuff. So trying to compartmentalize that and go, well, yes, I'd love to play Test cricket again. It's something that I keep striving for. But if I don't, it's not the end of the world. Like, I'm still playing 2 formats for Australia. I'm having a great time thinking about the game. Like, I look back at sort of that Pakistan and Bangladesh series. I had a really good start, then sort of fell away for a little bit and then came back. And that's what I love about the game is you're always thinking about how you want to play, how you want to go about things, whether you want to play a certain way. And if I keep working on that thing and keep trying to get better, that's what I love doing.
Is it the variability of pitches, conditions, bowlers, etc., that makes it fun?
I think so. I think like you look at, so we go to Pakistan, 230 is a great one-day score. It's like spinning, there's reverse swing, and it's like, well, this is cool. Like, it's loads of different ways of going about it. Like, obviously people see the collapses and see wickets falling to spin. Well, no wonder wickets fall to spin. They bowl 45 overs of it. Like, it's some of those, like, people find statistics for what they want. Then we go to Bangladesh and you're expecting spin and it's fast, bouncy, swing, seam. We've got a bloke bowling 150. They've got a left armer who's hooping it both ways. It's like, this is not sort of what you prep for when you're thinking about Bangladesh, but just the way that it can all change bit by bit. And then you come to Australia, even you've got Gabba, you got AB, then you go different states. Like, I think that's the part where it's like you've got to try and move to different surfaces. You got to move to different environments, mindsets, even like how good a sleep you had. Whether if you had a good sleep, you've got to try and manage your ways of getting up and getting the sort of adrenaline going before the game.
How do you practice for a game in centre wicket or nets? How do you find your best practice before going into a Bangladesh game, for instance?
I struggle with nets because I grew up, my dad's very game sense orientated, constraints led approach. We did a lot of centre wickets. We did a lot of bowling, like throwing spin and that sort of thing. So I struggle with just the monotony of nets. So I have to really get myself into a mindset before I go in the nets of what I'm trying to work on, be really like disciplined on that. And then if I'm done with what I'm trying to do, move on to something else. So I'd hate just hitting balls for the sake of hitting balls. I hate bowling machines. I can't stand them. I don't understand them. I'll face them and go, I don't know what's coming out here.
Right, and it doesn't replicate what you're seeing in the centre wicket.
I think because I see bowling machines, you're getting no cues. I have a trigger myself. I can't work on my trigger when I'm facing the machine because you're going to get the timing when the bowler's coming in. So, being really specific of that. And then if I'm not, sometimes I need to have some fun. So like having a lot of fun in my nets is something that I keep trying to build on, because I don't want to be the one who's hitting the nets for no reason. Like I'll go in the nets morning of day one of a Shield game, first ball, I'll try and ramp one against the sidearm, just because like it gets some joy, it gets me heightened, my like energy levels. It's like this will be fun. Obviously, I'm not going to do it first ball in a Shield game, but
some people are trying to do that these days, though.
Yeah, I respect that. It's a tough one, but yeah, just being able to like bring some joy, it brings energy, which then brings the best out of myself.
The triggers that you talk about, everyone's got little different triggers. I saw Reece Walsh again lining up for the conversion, and for the Bronx again, he's little Johnny Wilkinson back in the day as well.
Yeah.
You want to talk through your triggers, or is it a secret sauce?
No. So I didn't have a proper trigger when I first started. It was stand as still as you can. My feet sort of did some unexpected triggers. My body moved. But then I found like when I was getting a short ball or something, my feet were getting stuck and then I had nowhere to go. So as the bowling got quicker, as I played a bit more international cricket, I realised that I probably needed a different trigger. And so I tried heaps. I tried going like following Marnus's lead, following Steve Smith's lead, following Alistair Cook's lead, like trying all these different triggers until I sort of found one that I got comfortable with, which is sort of just a back and across, and then not stressing too much on how far my feet go. There's a lot of people who your feet have got to go to a certain spot every time, but I know that with my feet, sometimes they move a lot, sometimes they don't, but generally, if my momentum's going towards the bowler, then I'm going to be in a good position with my feet.
Do you go for a trot, a little wander?
Sometimes I'll walk at the bowler, just depending on what I'm feeling.
Or to the side maybe as well, in between balls?
Oh, into the side, yeah. So between balls, I'll walk down the wicket. I'll try and switch off. I'll look at the crowd. I'll walk to square leg, have a look at the grass, just try and get my mind off it. Sort of, it's sort of like this ball. Cricket's just like everyone sees ball, 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 but there's also that time in the middle where you reflect. So how can I reflect as well? Was that fine? If I was just a leave, it's like, okay, cool, that was a good leave. Switch off for 10, 20 seconds, get back into my mark, tap, and then as soon as I tap, it's like switching on back to the bowler.
Before we talk about the different forms of the game, the key to batting time in the red ball game, what do you think the key is?
I think it's just being okay that there's going to be some times to score, to not score. You're going to have periods where you don't score for a while, and that's okay. There's going to be times where you score heaps, but as long as you're trying to stick to those processes, you sort of, I think what's great about long form is most of the time you have an hour, then there's a drinks break. Then you have an hour, and then there's a lunch break. Then you're trying to break it up, even if you go to bowler's spells. So like bowlers 6 overs probably most of the time max at the Gabba. Like if they're bowling 6 over spells, if they're bowling more, then good on them. But 6 overs, I feel like, is about the time. So if you can feel like, oh, this bowler's challenging me, he's in his 4th or 5th over, I know that I've only got a couple overs left. You're working with your partner. You're trying to get off strike. You're trying to let him face a couple. Like you're trying to put them off that way. But you can sort of work in slow little like time frames, whether that's overs, whether that's balls, whether that's time. You can just work on that, and then you have a little bit of a break and you can switch off.
At the non-strikers end, what are you thinking about?
Nothing. Just looking off. I'm sort of
What about the bowler's movement and stuff, or not really?
I think you're sort of naturally watching subconsciously at that time. I think I've found some times when I'm too switched on, I'm even at the non-strikers end, I can just get burnt out, and then you're mentally fatigued before you get physically fatigued. So I'm still switching on, but I'm a lot less switched on than when I'm facing.
So when you say nothing, like literally nothing, like just lyrics to a song or
lyrics to it. So a big one for me is music. So even when I'm batting, there'll be times where if I feel like I need it, the bowler's running in, and if Stum Mic was on, they'd hear me singing. So like just trying to, whatever it is, whatever I've listened to on the radio or in the speaker in the changing room, but just trying to switch myself into that relaxed, calm, like ready to go mode, rather than being so anxious and like I've got to got to score runs this ball, or I can't get out this ball. Whereas like when you're singing, it just gives you that way more relaxed mindset. And then when I'm at the non-strikers end, it depends where we're playing. If we're playing at the Gabba and it's empty, it's looking at the cranes and all that sort of stuff. And then if we're at AB, it's looking around. It just depends on where you're playing, but it's just looking around. It's making sure you keep your sort of your mind up. I think it's something I heard somewhere was like you can't have a bad attitude if you're like your chest is up, your eyes are up.
The posture.
Yeah. So trying to do that side of things.
To remind us to get up, just to feel strong. You feel like you own the moment, yeah? And
it's a big one. I had a chat with Matt Hayden a couple last year just around batting and life and stuff like that, and he's that big presence. I'm a big presence. Obviously, there's a lot of comparisons. Probably just mainly because we're both called Matt. That's probably one of the big ones that easy to
open the batting
people to go to. Matt
twice.
Left-handed, open the batting
3.
But like around that presence
from
side
Queensland 4.
Yeah. Around that presence side, just being able to like be on and show your presence.
How many songs are in your likes list on Spotify?
Oh, heaps. Just it depends on what.
Do you do a shuffle?
Shuffle, yes. But the problem I have is sometimes I'll have the smallest little part of a song stuck in my head, and I'll just keep singing that over and over and over for 2 hours until I can get another song in my head. And then it's so random. Like sometimes when my daughter was younger, she loved Frozen. So I had Frozen songs stuck in my head for the whole time.
Mate, it was the old Joe Danaher, Let It Joe, Let It Go, when he scored a goal.
It was just so...
We're not going to do carpool karaoke, Steph Curry style.
Thank you,
no.
Yeah. But yeah, it'd just be whatever came into my head at any time.
Moana?
There's a bit of Moana, Encanto, all the Disney ones.
Yeah. That's right, Encanto. I remember that one, Spanish one.
Yeah. So just whatever came into my head.
Yeah. And do you wake up sometimes with a song in your head and you're like, oh, geez, how do I get this out of my head?
Yeah. And then I just go, I'm not going to get this out of my head until I have a chance to, so I don't stress. I just sing that one. But mostly if I know the lyrics to a song, I've listened to it a fair few times. So
the 30 to 45 minutes before you go and open the batting, there's the toss, and then it's like, well, you bat first or you bowl first. Does it bother you either way?
I've sort of learned to just expect batting first, especially the way that the wickets have been over the last sort of 5-6 years. Just understanding that a lot of teams are going to bowl first. That's the stats. If you win the toss, you're going to bowl first most of the time. So I mentally prepare day one to bat first, because then I can, if we're fielding, then I can sort of switch off in that 30 minutes from what I was trying to do. But it's easier to switch off than to switch back on. So, a lot of my day one stuff is around prepping to bat first. So I'll go to the game, have a hit, so go in the nets, and then go and do my warm-up. If we're batting first, I'll probably then go and put my whites on and then go the nets again. So something that I worked out during Big Bash actually a couple of years ago was, so we batted before the game. So it'd be 6 o'clock start, 6:15 start. We'd bat in the nets from about 4:30 till about 5. So you get half an hour hit then. Then if you don't bat first and you're chasing, you're not batting until 7:30. So there's that 3-hour window. You've done your prep here, which is great. But then when you come back, you haven't hit a ball for 3 hours. And in Big Bash, you're expected to be on from ball 1. So luckily, Gabba, we have the indoor nets. So underneath, there's the sweatiest nets possible. They're, as you can imagine, a massive sauna under the Gabba. The outside's hot enough.
I was going to say, the outside's hot enough.
The outside's hot enough to add 10 degrees to that. So I go in our changeover, I quickly run, pad up, go in those indoor nets and hit 5-10 minutes, if that. And it just gets me mentally switched on, but more my body into the right movements and stuff. And it sort of gets you out of that little funk of you're hitting straight away. You'd be facing someone bowling 150 and you've got to be switched on, especially at number 4 when you don't know when you're going to go in. So just being able to do that. And like I look at the Perth Scorchers game last year, I went and did that and I hit them the worst I've ever hit them. Like I couldn't find the middle. Like I was like, this is going to be terrible. When we lose a wicket first ball, I'm like, well, you're in. Like now's the time. And then it's funny how like in history, the amount of bad nets you've had, and then you go out and you absolutely smack them because you're just like, well, I've already hit them bad. I can't get any worse. So it clears your mind a little bit.
A bit freer, you reckon? Because you're like, this is bad. This is not going well. So
it's like,
I'm going to get out. Well,
and especially that one, I didn't have time to sort of think. Like I was like nets, literally sat down in my seat, had my helmet and gloves ready, and I just got out first ball to an absolute seed. I'm like, okay, I'm in. And then you don't have time to think about all the bad net. You don't have time to think about it. It's like just go and watch the ball, see what can happen.
Do you want to talk about that innings for a second and you and Jack and how you approached it?
Yeah, it was never really spoken about too much. Like the amount of times you've had to chase over 220 and you get bowled out for 130. Like it's just cricket and T20. It's like you're trying to go hard and you just lose wickets, and that's the way that T20s can be sometimes. And I think there's a few things that just went our way that night. Like I got a free hit first ball. A second ball. I got out off a noe. Jack got dropped. I remember he hit one, it went so high. And one thing I know about the Gabba crowd, if a ball goes up and we're batting, it is not quiet at all. And I'm screaming at Jack, run, 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 because I think we can get 2 because it's gone so high. And he's like thinking he's out. I'm like, no, I've seen this so many times where the ball goes up and it's tough catching conditions. But then, yeah, it was like, okay, we obviously had that short boundary towards the leg side from the Vulture Street end. So he had one side, I had one side. And so it was sort of worked out that I was batting at one end for a while, he was batting at one end. And it's crazy how like when you're just in that mindset, things just went our way. Like I think he was 14 off 3 with a 6 and 2 4s over third man. Like just those little things where that went our way. And then I remember at the 10 over mark, I was like, we are so far ahead. Like we're like, I think 130 or something at 10 overs. I was like, we're smacking them. And then I look later on and we are the exact same score as what they were at the 10 overs. And I'm like, okay, like lucky. But in my head, I was like, we're going so well. Like, let's just keep going. And then you have a couple of good overs after that 10 over mark. And like the surge is such a big part of T20 cricket in the Big Bash. I faced one ball of the surge last year. I didn't face a ball of the surge that game. We were like, let's take it at the 14th or 15th because we're going the surge is like, it's so tactical. It's like we could either start really well and then lose the surge and then you lose the game. So it's like you want to take it when you want to build momentum. So we're like, let's leave it as late as possible because they know they've got the surge coming. So we left it as late as possible. I got out and then I think Max Bryant took it. They took it next ball. And I was like, missed the surge again. But then, so it was a running joke throughout the season that the only ball I faced the surge was, I think we needed 4 to win against the Thunder. And I got hit on the pad first ball, leg by, and then Max hit a 6. And it was like, game over. It was like, that's the only ball I faced in the surge. But in terms of that game, it was like we just kept rolling. And every time we sort of needed a boundary or needed a 6, we got it. And it was just that crazy night that just...
The crazy night when the 100 was so good from both of you, but when you got out, there was still a very nerve-wracking game to finish. And obviously cheering from the sidelines there, hoping that you get up to make it even more memorable.
Yeah. I remember getting in the rooms and like normally if you're batting second, you'd have a shower, you'd like pack your kit up. Whereas this one, I was like, I put my shoes back down, put my kit down, walked straight out, and I was still in my kit. And I remember Boats turned around to me, he's like, "You ready for a super over?" And I'm fried. Like, a few balls before I got out, I smacked my toe. So like I went to hit one and I smacked my toe, and my foot was just felt so sore. I felt like I'd broken my foot at the time. And I was like, I was cooked. But I was like, yeah, I'm ready. Why do you think I'm still in my kit? Like, I said that and I was like, I didn't believe it in my mind. I was like, someone else is going to have to face this surge because I'm fried. But I had this super over. But it was like just that belief of like, we're going to get this done. And I think because we've had so many games at the Gabba where we've just come home late and come home strong, where the crowd gets behind, the opposition are probably stressing. But yeah, to win that game was just amazing.
Is there a point in 2020 where you think it is too far to win, or is it like 20 and over or something, or is it like 15 we can do this, or 18 we can do this, or is it 22 you're like, no, this is just way too much, or you're always in that belief that anything can happen?
I think you're always in that belief that anything can happen, but yeah, there's some times where you're like, this is going to be really tough.
Did you go through that night?
You go through it at the time. You're like
200 and system.
Yeah. So we came off as like 260 to win. We're like, we know we've got to play the perfect game. Like, I think the year before we had to chase 250 against the Strikers and we got nowhere near it. But it was like, you have to get off to a flyer and then hope you hang on. And yeah, that one was like, yep, we feel like we're going way ahead and we're even par.
What do you say in between overs to Jack? Just like, mate, just keep going? A couple of words,
There wasn't much conversation really. It was like most of the time it's, they're coming on. This is the options. Like, but it was mainly we just trusted each other. Like, trusted that if one of us was going to need the boundary, we're going to get it. But I think what helped us was they bowled 6 bowlers, but they were only really bowling 5. And then Coop came on later on in the back half. But it was like we knew what was coming. So it was like, well, Jai's probably going to bowl all the tough ends. Brody Couch is probably going to bowl both ends. Agar, they're going to try and sneak one at the short end, but they don't want to. They have to bowl him at the far end. And it was like sort of those stuff. It was like, I'm going to target here. Cool, go for it. I can target this guy. And it was just like that. It's just so simple, obviously, when you're looking back at it, but it's what we needed at the time. It was like, yep, we got this. Let's just keep going. And you just hope.
When you look back at the highlights or someone shows you the highlights or you see the highlights, what do you think now?
Crazy. There's some shots in there that I played that I was like, how have I done that? Like, I look back, I'm like, oh, I've just walked across and swept Joel Paris for 6. I'm like, how have I done that? Like, any other day that's like hit straight up, missed. But it was just one of those nights where everything I predicted, like I try and when I bat, especially in T20 cricket, you got to try and predict what the bowler wants to do. And you've got to try and adjust to what that is. And everything I predicted was right. So it was just one of those nights that was that fortunate for me.
We talked about 30 to 45 minutes before a Shield game going to the nets, wondering whether you're going to bat or bowl, and then talking about looking at time and bowler spells and 6-over spells and hour breaks and then drinks and then lunch. Then we're talking about going to the Gabba and chasing down 260 in a T20 game at night time when you've had some preparation 3 hours before. There's completely different styles of batting over the last 10 years, and you've adapted really, really well. What do you think you've done right in the last 10 years for that to switch the mindset, but you're a batter, but there's different scenarios?
I think it's just that enjoyment of different challenges and opportunities. So like like I said, a lot of my childhood was loads of different skills. So whether that's trying to hit onto the netball courts across like straight, or that was working on my reverse sweep or trying to miss cover. It was all like little games that we played. And so that's how I generally try and boil things down, especially Shield cricket. It's like in one day in T20 cricket, I've always felt like it's been my strength to like play the game, whether that's, okay, this bowler's trying to do this, I need to do that. And I'm trying to bring that more into my red ball game, whether I know that it's hard when the bowler's locking in at top of off every ball and you know that that's generally going to be where they're at. So it's trying to put them off that as much as you can and then just play the game. I think a lot of the time we just see this like red ball coming down at us and you've got to try and knock it out. But a lot of the way that cricket's going in red ball, you've got to score. Like, you're going to get a ball with your name on it. The bowlers are so skillful. The wickets are conducive to wickets. So how can you score as many runs as you can before you get out? So, because sometimes 200 in red ball has been amazing first innings score. So how can you get to 200 rather than, there's some people come in and just try and, like, when I was young, if I'd have done what I do and I just sit on the bowlers, I try and wait, you're just going to get out. Like, that worked well then, but now my game's developed. I'm able to play different shots. I'm able to score runs, and the mindset that I have works way better now than what my mindset worked well 10 years ago, and that was what I needed at the time. But the development of the game of cricket is now that I can still lock in if I need to, but I still need to have that positivity.
Are the games widening? Red ball, white ball, that's further apart, because you've done it really well, and Steve Smith and people do it really well, but then there's others that are specialists potentially. Do you feel like it's widening?
I think there'll always be those specialists. I think I look back at when I first started, there's still guys that only played white ball cricket.
Even back in the day, people like Shane Lee and Michael Bevan to a degree, like played a lot of red ball cricket, but not, dominated white ball cricket, for instance.
I think there's always going to be those specialists, but I think in terms of, like, batting is quite simple. We overcomplicate it a lot, but it's that trust of how you can score runs. That's going to be different on different wickets against different bowlers in different formats. But at the end, it's just about, it's cliche, but if you watch the ball and you're trying to, like, for me, it's trying to play straight. Like, in any format, if I'm trying to play straight, I'll react and be able to hit it where I need to. Whereas I think you see it a lot around short boundaries. If there's a short boundary, everyone wants to try and hit that short boundary, and you can get stuck on that, and then you can't score everywhere else. Whereas if you're looking straight, you can manipulate to where you want to play.
You're 10 years roughly through your cricketing career. Again, sort of Matthew Hayden came back in the second stint in Test cricket, etc. Where do you find yourself in terms of your game now, looking back 10 years ago to where you are now? Are you at one of the best spots you've ever been, you think?
I think so, yeah. Like, I watched footage of myself from 10 years ago, and my technique is way different to what it is now. I was so limited. Even like when I first came on white ball in one day cricket, like, I was so limited with what I could do. Whereas now I feel like I've worked on my game. It's mainly the confidence. So, like, back then I probably didn't have the confidence what I needed to perform. You sort of, I'm a red ball specialist. I can only face the new ball. But then if you look back at those 10 years ago, I got to 100, and then my game expanded. Like, I scored quickly. I scored and run a ball after I got to 100. But sort of what I needed to do was just grind for a while. When the ball came, I didn't really have a cover drive, which now I probably do. I probably nick more when I feel like I need to play it. But, like, it just, that whole, like, improvement. I feel a way better cricketer than I am now than what I was 10 years ago. But sometimes that can be a curse around that. I've got all these options. What's the right one to play at the time? Whereas when you don't have many options, you don't play the wrong option because you don't have anything else.
And your bowling, how's it going?
I'm loving it. I've always loved bowling. I'm not so much put a coin down, bowl continuously at the coin. That's, one, not my personality, and two, I don't think that helps me. But
you don't like bowling machines, so you're not going to like bowling into a coin, right? Yeah.
For me, it's getting in the contest, practicing what I'm trying to do. But yeah, the Bangladesh side was so much fun because, one, it added another string to my bow that if I wasn't scoring runs, which those few games I wasn't scoring runs, I felt still like I was contributing. Whereas when you're a batter only, if you don't score runs, it can be a long day because you're like, I haven't done anything to help the team here. Whereas, look, you might have fielded a couple of balls well, but when I've heard so many times, like, all-rounders say, like, if I'm not scoring runs, I can still help with the ball. So for me, that was fun. And it was also just like a new experience. I was like, my bowling got better because I knew I was going to be bowling. So I was like, okay, this guy wants to do this. And for me, my bowling has more have been I'm trying to read the batter because I'm a batter. I'm reading the batter. What do I think he wants? What do I think he doesn't want? I'm going to go the opposite. I'm going to try and do that. And sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. But the more consistent I can get with that, the more I can be valuable in that space.
Getting a 50 for Australia in a one-day game versus getting a fifer, what would you take?
Fifer would be unreal.
Yeah,
I got 2 for it. I was so excited over in Bangladesh. But yeah, it'd be more surprise getting a fifer. But yeah, like 50s are. If you said 100, I'm taking the 100. But 50s,
you'll take the fifer over the 50, but the 100 over the fifer.
Yeah.
For Australia. Yeah, and every time you wear that Australian outfit, how do you feel?
Pretty cool. Like I look back at sort of when I was young, like the people that were wearing the jersey at the time, like the Mike Hussies, the Matt Haydens, the Ricky Pontings, the Brett Lee, Glenn McGrath, Shane Warne. Like I look at that, I'm like, I get to wear the same kit as them. That's amazing. Like, and I think it's sort of that imposter syndrome of like, oh, I don't deserve to be here. And you sort of go through those mindsets so much in your life. But then when you perform, you're like, okay, I deserve to be here. I'm like, that's why I'm here.
The selection's one thing and going, yes, this is amazing. But then it's like, well, it can last a ball.
Yeah.
Right. And how do you deal with that? Sometimes the elation of being selected going, okay, now it's time to work.
Yeah, I think it's trying to compartmentalize everything and like, yes, you're playing for Australia, but you've got to just try and think you're just playing cricket. Like you're trying not to think too much around. I think what people don't understand and what I definitely didn't understand is when you play for Australia, your whole life changes in terms of the media, the external noise, everything that comes with playing for Australia. When you're young, you think just playing for Australia is, you get to play Test cricket, you get to wear a baggy green, you get to sing the song after the game, you get to celebrate with your mates. But there's so much other stuff that, like, even the media side that's growing so much now, which is great for our game, but it can also be so perilous for you if you're stuck in a different country, away from your family, in a hotel room, and you just get caught in the spiral of media. Can be really tough. And that's another thing that I've changed over the last few years is I don't try not to read media. Like there's things that pop up and I'm like, my body sort of leans towards getting sucked in and I'm like, no, we don't need to read that. Because it's just, especially like this time of year, the media are fighting with footy and all that sort of thing. And they're just trying to make some news articles. And if I get sucked in, I'm no better than anyone else and it's about me. Have you looked at social media to a point where maybe there has been some abuse? Oh, you get abuse every game, no matter what. Whether you score runs, whether you don't score runs, someone's got a bet on you probably that you've cost them and they're spraying you. Like it's not great. Like that side of things. And speaking to a few other codes, they get it as well, depending on what sport they play. But people have a bet on something. Like I remember I got 45 or 46 one day, batted like really well in a Big Bash game, got run out coming back for a 2, like sliding in. And I got so much abuse because someone would have had a bet on me to get 50. And it's like, this is not a good culture for us because it's so accessible. Like people can just message me straight away. Like they think it's all right because I've cost them money. It's like, no, you shouldn't have put money on me to make 50. But this betting culture is just, I don't think it's very good for people, but especially athletes are copying it more than ever now because they don't do one thing that this person who's betting has asked them to do.
It's fascinating. And maybe there's some social media for good for athletes.
Yeah.
I don't know in terms, obviously building your brand and whatnot, but it's almost impossible to stop.
Yeah. And I think like it gets to a point where when people are saying some really inappropriate things and not just to me, like I can cop it to me, family members get involved, like the whole we're away a lot. So people start saying like around coming over to your house and stuff. And it's like, why do people need to do this? Like it's just the way that the world is at the moment, unfortunately. But yeah, I can cop it myself. Like, if I'll just be like, yeah, I probably did stuff up today. And like, I've got to a point now where it doesn't, unless it's really personal and at my family, I don't care. Like if someone's spraying me and saying all words under the sun about me, I can just laugh it off and go, well, I know what this is about. You can sort of understand that it's about betting or generally those things, but I laugh them off. Whereas it's like, even I remember when I got out, when I caught Rohit Sharma on my debut, I had 1,000 comments on my post spraying me about catching him. I'm like, well, I'm not going to intentionally drop this because you're going to spray me on Instagram. Like, it was just like all those sort of random stupid things that like people just think is okay.
And the noise that you get from people giving their different opinions, obviously you need to keep it pretty tight on whose opinion you trust and value, etc. How tight is your inner circle?
Yeah, really tight. I don't talk cricket too much to especially people outside of cricket. I have a few mates that I talk to about life, and like they understand cricket's obviously in a different path to what they're on, just their work. But yeah, generally I try and keep cricket away from home a lot of the time, just because I go home, I don't want to be anxious or that sort of side of things. So I'm just going to try and keep that away.
When you do switch off from cricket, what do you do?
I love my golf, which is I'm trying to get more golf in, which is tough with 2 young kids, but we're in the process of building a shed out the back that's going to have a golf simulator in. So I'm going to be able to practice a lot more at home, which is nice. So in the process of doing that at the moment.
Sounds like a process then to get a golf sim into your house.
Oh, I thought it'd be pretty simple, but
there's not like golfsimsrus.com or anything.
Golf Sims Australia,
Okay, yeah.
They're good. Or Aussie Golf Sims. So I was thinking I could try and build something myself. Like I get a bit of help from family and friends and stuff like that. And then the Duck Hook boys, the Western Bulldogs players, they played golf with Max Bryant the other week, and so I followed them, and they're building a golf sim in their office. And so I messaged them, how are you doing this? Because like I'm literally in the process.
I'm in the market.
I'm looking for this now. And so they put me in touch with Aussie Golf Sims. And so then we're working through like, you got to build a frame, then you got to have the right materials. Last night I tried building like these leather foam, like soundproof mats. So I'm trying to build them myself. Yeah.
A few soundproof mats here in the studio.
Massive 1x1s. But yeah, I love my lawn. So I used to have in my old house, I had AB field turf in my backyard. So when they renovated AB, went over, took some grass, put it down, laid it.
You stole some grass?
No, I got given some grass.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
You borrowed.
They were going to throw it away. So I was like, well, can I take some? But now we moved out to acreage. So it's more getting lots of grass as good as I can.
What's the name of that grass?
That's cooch.
Oh, right. Yeah. And in terms of like the manicure of the lawn, you're very particular?
I was. When I had my old place, it was cylinder mower, it was all the right chemicals, whereas now when you've got 3 acres, it's can this grass grow? How low can I cut it? But yeah, looking forward to this will be my first like springtime with this block. So I'm going to see if I can sort of do a renovation and see how that works with such a big lawn.
There you go. And then other things that you do outside of cricket in terms of improving your learning? Do you read books? Do you listen to podcasts?
Yeah, so one thing I really tried to do over in Pakistan and Bangladesh was reading books and being off my phone. So I find that when I'm away or even if I'm at home, you're sucked in so much to this phone that you lose and miss things. So like I'd be lying on the floor playing with my kids and then my phone would just suck me in and I'd start watching Instagram reels or like stupid stuff, but I'd be missing out on actually playing with the kids, and they'd be like the amount of times I'd be sitting on the couch, especially when you're tired, that's the worst part. You'd be sitting on the couch after a long day just scrolling, and it's like, no, put your effort and time into this and it's going to be way better for you. So yeah, reading books, trying to read a lot more books. I sort of get caught in between fiction and those sort of mind books, all the self-help books, but I find too many self-help books just put me in a bad frame of mind because I'm just overthinking. Whereas the fiction side of things is like the imaginative side, the creativity side. Love Lego. Weirdly, I love Harry Potter and I love Lego. So we've got a fair few Lego things at home that I need to build, but the time is the tough part.
So they're in the boxes right now, but they're ready.
Still, they're in the spare room, just hiding, waiting for either the kids to get a little bit older or to have a bit of time when the kids aren't going to destroy it.
So the birthday present for the kids. Oh, surprise, surprise! It's Harry Potter Lego.
Yeah, you wouldn't have thought. Like, when you're a bit older, you can look at this.
Yeah, maybe I'll help you.
Yeah. But yeah, we my wife and I did the full Hogwarts castle in COVID time. We got the full one, and we just it was amazing. But it was so.
Have you been to the Lego store in Sydney?
No, I've heard it's
Mate,
amazing.
It's epic. Yeah. Took the kids over Christmas. Yeah.
I'd probably just go down to Sydney just for that.
Just for that, and there's an NBA store. There's lots of things in Sydney. I've only just started getting into reading, and I'm 45, and I read a book called London Falling recently. You should have a look at it. It's a sort of part Aussie true crime. Yeah. All true story. But anyway, what about ebooks? Oh, sorry, audiobooks.
Audiobooks, yeah. So with the mowing, it probably takes me about 2 hours to mow everything, like if I'm doing a proper one. So there'll be times where I have audiobooks. I prefer the reading actually of it. So it's podcasts, it's just music, it's trying to have that creativity side around being able to sort of get your mind away, or even if it's just no headphones, just listening to nature like when you're doing it.
I was going to say, do you sit in silence?
I do. So I sauna every night, or try and sauna every night. I got an infrared at my house, just a little 2-person one, but I'll do that without noise. So I might have a friend join me occasionally, but if I'm on my own, it's no phone, it's no noise, no music, it's just time with my thoughts, which can be good. When I'm in a good frame of mind, it's good. When I'm not, it's also good just to try and work through some things.
I've been doing that 10 minutes recently, almost daily. It's pretty hard to do it daily, but the first 3 minutes around what you got to do today.
Yeah.
The next 3 minutes are like what's on this weekend and kids sport and where you're going. And then the last 3 minutes and a half, 4 minutes is the gold, where you're like, look at that bird.
Yeah.
Oh, I wonder where that plane's going. That's a nice tree. And then that's where that you just come back and you're like, your whole nervous system's like.
And I think it's as well, like it's not like, because we've got such a great like information tool with our phone, sometimes it's just looking and saying, where's the plane going? Like you just want to look at your phone and see where
I've got an app for that.
Yeah. But it's like, no, just like let your imagination take over. And that's part of the fiction books side of things, is like letting your imagination run things rather than just constantly looking for your phone for instant gratification.
That's right. And I've got a little the grey mode on the phone now to help with the pickups. Yeah. So the pickups are reducing over time because it was shocking.
It was a big part of mine was the screen time, just around what I was doing.
What are you down to? What can you get down to?
I've been rolling just over 2.25.
Oh, that's good.
2.25 hours.
I think that's good because I've started at 5, 6.
I was 4.5.
Yeah. Yep.
But it's obviously lucky that I don't need my phone very much for.
It's pretty hard when you're batting long time.
Well, you can film stuff, so that would improve the screen time. But yeah, it's more just like when I'm on task, if I'm concentrating on something, I'm perfect. Like, don't want to rush my phone. It's when I'm finished something, it's like you go to the toilet and then you start scrolling, you look at the news and then you're like, oh, I've finished with the news now. What do? I'll start scrolling. So
the old dopamine wants to have a bit more, yeah?
So it's something that I've really worked on, definitely.
Yeah, I got to 19 minutes the other day as my record, but I cheated because I was camping. But the 19 minutes was to do with the World Cup scores because we had no reception. I was like, I just want to know if the Socceroos won. So I was like trying for 10 minutes trying to get
great effort. Like, I think that's so important, is like just those keeping your phone in the.
It was such a good day in the end. Like you actually connected with people. You're having conversations with people, which is fantastic. Now, speaking of conversations with people, we're having a conversation with you, but we've got a couple of sponsors that help us tell the stories of the game of sport. Our first one is SwiftX, which is Australia's most trusted cryptocurrency platform with over 1.5 million users in Australia and New Zealand. As part of their sponsorship, we run a little segment called The Bucket List, which is a sporting event that you haven't attended live thus far, Matt Renshaw, that you would love to attend?
I think the obvious one is the Masters.
The Masters has come up a few times, but how would you do it? Would you follow the hole, a player? Would you sit at a hole? What would you do?
Well, I think golf tournaments that I've been to, I found it tough just sitting in the one spot because I don't think you get the feel of what it's like. And I think if you go to Augusta, you've got to walk around. You've got to walk every hole. Like you've probably got to you'll want to follow the big names, but I think you've got to follow someone that you got good access to, like you can walk close. Or I think that, or a World Cup football,
which has just happened here,
Champions League final, something like that.
Yeah.
I think and if my team was playing,
your team is Newcastle United. Yeah.
So if they were playing Champions League final, I find that really tough not to try and go to.
I went to a Newcastle Fulham game in 2006. It was raining. Newcastle won on the buzzer, and the crowd just went nuts. I was
like I've been to St James's Park.
Joey Barton, I think it was.
Joey Barton.
He got in trouble.
Yeah,
a little bit.
But yeah, I've been to a few St James's Park games, and it's incredible how loud it is there.
Why a Newcastle fan? Just play cricket there?
My mum's from Newcastle.
Ah, there you go.
So every year my grandma and granddad bought me a Newcastle shirt. There was Shearer at the time. My mum sent me a photo with me and Alan Shearer in 2006 the other day.
Wow.
He was over in New Zealand when we were living there doing a sponsors tour.
Yeah.
And yeah, it was awesome.
Oh, that's so good.
Yeah. So yeah, like that side of things, like probably Augusta just to experience Augusta. Like we've spoken about it. But yeah, a World Cup final or a Champions League final.
We've also got another sponsor in PocketSmith, and PocketSmith is the personal finance app for the household CFO, the one keeping the budget in check, paying the bills, and kicking goals. Over 100,000 Aussies use PocketSmith to track their spending, see their net worth, and plan ahead. With all the business and sport and money and all that grown-up stuff, Matt Renshaw, are you the CFO of your household? Do you budget?
I like to think I'm the CFO. I like to think that I can decide what things get spent on. No, we use PocketSmith. Trying to budget a lot more now we've got kids. I think it's a lot different budgeting when you have kids compared to when you don't. But yeah, my wife she's generally the one who goes, do you actually need to buy that?
The question. Interesting.
I want to buy something and I'm like, I'd love to buy this. And she's like, do you need this? Because I'm the type of guy that will just go out and buy something and then and 6 months later be like, I don't use this anymore.
Does the Harry Potter Lego go into the kids category or the adult discretionary category?
Adult discretionary.
Adult discretionary?
Yeah. I think the other day she loves it as well. So it works really well with that side of things. But yeah, it's all the stupid stuff that I'm like, oh, this would be great to get. And I'll use it 3 times and then I'm done with it. And it's like, well, that's what we're going through at the moment. It's like, why have you bought this?
So you got golf that you can spend money on.
Yeah.
Garden. Lego. What else? Coffee? Your coffee machine?
Yeah. So I got a proper machine for home. So trying to make more. My latte art's terrible. I got Manus to make me a few coffees while we were in Pakistan and Bangladesh just because he's loves it.
I can see his Instagram. He does some cryptic stuff on coffee, like someone pouring a coffee. You're like, okay, is that you or is it someone else?
Yeah. So yeah, I'll spend some money on coffee. I like barbecue. I like barbecuing, so I got
smoking meat.
It's you see all those things online. It's like when you turn 30, like you've got to pick your hobbies, and it's like barbecuing, lawn, golf, and there's another one.
Triathlons.
Yeah,
biking.
Triathlons. So I'm like, okay, well, let's go a couple of them. But yeah, love doing briskets, like those sort of things. I did some ribs the other night that were delightful, but it's probably just most of the budgeting thing that we spoke about is just I probably need another barbecue, and no, you've got 3. I could get another one. Like this one's different to the other ones.
There you go. Lots of barbecue, garden. Oh, there's plenty there. Anyway, PocketSmith. There you go.
Yeah.
Now, I always ask our guests about their favourite all-time sporting moment, and this sort of gets a wide-ranging answers, but it's something you can watch, 10,000 times over, and it still gives you goosebumps. And I preface this that it doesn't include yourself.
At the moment, it's just any time Like there's some things like growing up that were crazy. When I was in 2003, I was in New Zealand, but I was English. When Johnny Wilkinson kicked the drop goal, I remember that. It was 3
in extra time. Yep.
3 a.m. in New Zealand. It's a tough one for Australians, but yeah, that one was something I remember. Like that was one of my first real sporting memories at the time. But yeah, at the moment, it's more just like whenever someone succeeds. So like even I look at Ryan Fox winning the Open the other day, like watching him come down the last, make the 11-footer for birdie to win the Open. Like I was like, that is awesome. Like just seeing him achieve what he's worked so hard for, because you know how hard all these people have worked. Just being able to go, well, that's pretty amazing that he's done that. So what else would I think? So there's some football ones, obviously, like when Newcastle won the Carabao Cup a couple of years ago. So they hadn't won a trophy in 50 years. They won the League Cup. That was pretty cool.
Yeah, I love that the timing between gaps of things like the Sydney Swans, I think it was in 2005, and then the Western Bulldogs, and then the South Australian cricket team recently. Like it's obviously not South Australia, but for them, that legacy of what it means for being that so gap, and obviously Queensland back in 94, 95, etc. Now, 2 final questions. One is your scoreboard moment. It's a moment in your life that's visual. And then from that moment, you can play it over again. You're like, I remember that, just like yesterday. And then life changed for the better.
So the first one was the one I remember is the Scorchers game. That's something that I'm really like can remember a fair bit of it, which is nice. But in terms of the change for the better, would probably be the Test debut or the Test 100, because I think that time in my life, I wasn't expecting it at all to play Test cricket. I was like, this would be cool one day. Like played a year and a half of Shield cricket. This would be cool one day. And then to play Test cricket, score a Test 100 so young. And then you look back, then you win the Shield the next year. I think the winning the Shield was something that like I looked at the history of Queensland cricket, only winning in 94, 95, all the people that have played before. Like I'm 498, my Shield number. So there's 400 people that never won a Shield, like probably more than that. And it was like we won it. I won it 3 years in. I'd already played Test cricket. I got a Test 100. Like for some people, that's like the pinnacle. And I'd done it at 20. Like to be able to like look now and go, I've not added to my Test 100s, but I've won another Shield. I played 85 matches for Queensland. Like I look at that and go like, that was so important for my life now, around just how it's come about. Like I think a lot of the time we see these negative things getting dropped, like not scoring runs. They are so negative at the time, but what comes out of them, a lot of the time with me, if I've been dropped or something good will always come off the back of it. So it's so hard to think of that at the time, especially when you're getting dropped and it's like, when you're 20, you're dropped and you're like, this is the worst part of my life. I wanted to play in Ashes. I didn't get to do that. But like, to be honest, I think that's probably the thing that's been so good in my life was getting dropped. And like everyone's been dropped. It's the whole cliche. You've got to get dropped. Even Don Bradman was dropped. And it's like, you don't want to get dropped. But if you see the way that you can come out of those challenges is the way that you can work that out and grow.
It's amazing. I've had that a few times with people that had ACLs or injuries, and they said it was the best time of their life.
Yeah.
But at the time you didn't. You're like, this is just crippling news.
Yeah.
But then they're like, without that, I wouldn't have got, So it's interesting philosophy. And just for the last question, good segue into it, the 15-year-old out there playing cricket right now that sees Matt Renshaw and sees professional athletes out there and says, I want to be like Matt or be a professional cricketer, what's some advice?
Just trying to keep playing the game. I think you get so caught up in selection and that if you know something that been told is the cream always rises to the top. So if you keep working hard, if you keep doing what you want to do and keep enjoying it, I think you sort of the life of a professional athlete, especially cricket, is like you're really enjoying it, you're playing, then you get picked in a few teams, and then it's like there, and then you get dropped, and it's work, and it's not playing cricket. Like I've never tried to see it as work. It's always I need to play. I'm playing cricket, or I take the piss with my mates. Like I'm going to work today. It's like, oh, what'd you do at work? I went to the gym. Like just like those sort of things where it's like, oh, trying to see it as like I'm going to cricket. I'm not going to work, which is trying to teach my kids that as well.
That's a great way to think about it, and also have a bit of fun and enjoy yourself, which sounds like you are. And in terms of where your mindset and your confidence are 10 years from playing for Australia, et cetera, now in the Test group, but also playing for Australia in representing your country right now, you're in a good spot, Matt. So thanks so much for coming on, and I really appreciate the chat. And good luck coming with the schedules just out now with the Shield and whatnot, and all the best, and looking forward to support where I can.
This has been another episode of Scoreboard with Chris Titley. Go back and check out some of the other episodes you might have missed.